with your powers combined.
Deltarune is a game that's highly praised for its interesting game mechanics, wacky characters, and compelling mystery. But out of everything within Deltarune, its strongest aspect is most definitely its writing. I feel like Toby Fox's ability to write both serious and silly moments without one overpowering the other is really impressive, and I found the quirky dialogue mostly charming, though Chapter 5 did have its moments. I think we can all agree that Deltarune is pretty well written, but that leads to the question of this video. What do you think the best line in Deltarune is? It's one of the most subjective questions I can ask, but I think the fact there's such a wide array of candidates for that title shows the quality of the game's writing. It could be Ralsei's declaration that he wants to believe there's more than one ending. Maybe it's that one Pippin's telling Chris that no one will shed a tear for Ram. It could even be one of Birdley's iconic lines. Okay, maybe not that one. But in my opinion, the greatest line in Deltarune comes from Chapter 5. Thank you for watching my dream. Something said by each of the flowers when we say goodbye to them at the end of the chapter. Not only is it a sweet, tender send-off to characters we grew to care about, but when looking deeper into the existence and goals of each flower, it adds more depth to both them and that line. And by also looking at it from both an in-game and real-world standpoint, it shines even more beauty onto it. So today everyone, I'll be analyzing the beauty behind what I believe to be Deltarune's greatest line. When looking at my favorite line in Deltarune, we obviously need to start with analyzing the ones who said it. The 7 colored flowers were one of the greatest additions to Deltarune. But for this video, I'll be focusing more on the 6 colored flowers and leave Flowery for another time. Anyways, as a group, I feel like they were beautifully written. These were characters that fans already had expectations for due to them paralleling the 7 humans in Undertale. I was already expecting some resemblances to humans, but what I didn't expect was that a core trait in each of them was the desire to be human. Whether it be for their own personal goal or to aid Asgore, humanity was a big part of the 7 flowers. Each of them had their own interpretations on what traits humans had, with all of their quote-unquote human forms having some imperfections. Aqua didn't understand the number of eyes a human's supposed to have. Green looks less human and more like those Mr. Men and Little Miss characters, which is interesting considering what they identify as. Orange was a straight-up rodent, and blue and yellow had aspects of both a human and butterfly. Even the ones with the greatest resemblance, like Seth and Flowery, had their appearances clearly show they weren't human. But despite their physical imperfections, Asgore's flowers are the greatest representations of humanity in Deltarune, and the reason for that is because of those imperfections. If you're a Deltarune fan who hasn't played Undertale, the 7 human souls found within the game coincide with a specific aspect of humanity. Aqua or Cyan represents patience, purple represents perseverance, green is kindness, blue is integrity, yellow is justice, orange is bravery, and red wasn't given a specific trait. In my almost 11 years in the fandom, I always thought it was determination, but now I'm personally leaning towards it representing hope. But anyways, each of the humans are associated with a core characteristic. And what's interesting about that is when looking at the colored flowers and the soul traits they coincide with, we can see how they do not follow those traits. Aqua is impatient, Seth gives up and runs away. Blue hides things from his friends. Green often asks for compensation for their deeds. Orange is cowardly, and yellow is extremely gullible. Each of the flowers exhibit characteristics unbefitting to their soul type, and you could say this is another example of how the flowers fail to imitate humans. But despite contradicting their respective soul types, they each have moments where they coincide with them as well. Aqua's patience comes from how long she waited to finally play a game, and the fact she maintained those childlike wishes for all those years without changing them shows her patience. Seth's perseverance is stated to come more from their studies than battle. Green still shows massive amounts of kindness to the people around them. Orange shows her bravery by standing up to the 3 heroes and fighting them in the open. Blue's integrity comes from his strong moral values regarding love. And Yellow, with the help of Blue, upholds justice against the heroes during Chapter 5's finale. The fact that each flower both follows and contradicts their soul type shows just how human they truly are. Human beings don't perfectly represent one specific trait. Everyone, despite holding themselves to a specific standard, have moments where they make mistakes or go against their values. To be imperfect is to be human, and through the ways the flowers act, we can see the humanity in each of them. But beyond their imperfections giving them humanity, another big aspect of what makes the flowers human is love. Despite how unique and different each flower is, what ties them all together is their love. In the light world, the colored flowers were beings created by Asgore for his proposal to Toriel, meant to live a single day. But despite their predetermined lifespan, through Asgore's love, they lived much longer than previously thought. And to thank Asgore for his love, the flowers worked to aid him in whatever goals he had. They were brought into this world because of love and kept living because of it. And through Asgore's care, they each gained great love for him and their fellow flowers. They all feel like a family. And while they each have their preferred person, they all care for one another. One of my favorite moments in Chapter 5 was when the flowers immediately accepted Pink into their group. Their instant love for her was beautiful. So the flowers are imperfect and have strong feelings of love. Two crucial aspects of the human experience. But the last, most important thing the flowers have is their ability to dream. Each flower wished to help Asgore, owing him their lives. But with how long they've been alive, they all eventually developed their own dreams and desires beyond him. And knowing why they were created and why they kept living makes Flowery's statement that nothing is stronger than a flower's dream make so much sense. The reason why a flower's dream would hold so much power is because the very act of having one should be impossible for them. The flowers were neither darkener nor lightener. They were living beings that needed to be cared for, meaning that they could only stay in the dark world for a short period of time. Their very existence had such a short time limit, and yet, they let themselves dream. The love they had for Asgore and each other caused them to face those impossibilities head-on, stopping at nothing to make his and their dreams come true. The dream of a flower is something that defies fate because it never should have existed in the first place, but it does. And that is the most human aspect of the 7 flowers. They saw impossible odds before them. They saw the minuscule timer for their existence and the 99.9% chance that their dreams would fail. And despite all that, they still tried. They all worked hard to achieve their dreams. When we as humans are faced with obstacles that we believe to be overwhelmingly impossible to get past, we still try to move forward anyway. If these flowers, beings that were only meant to live a single day, are able to try and follow their dreams, what's stopping any of us? Despite appearing as cheap imitations, Asgore's flowers are the most human characters in the game. And with all of that said, let's dive into the most beautiful line in all of Deltarune. After defeating Flowery, you have to say one final goodbye to the flowers before leaving. And as you talk to each of them, they tell you the dreams they had while they were unmoving flowers. Aqua wanted to play with someone, Seth wanted to learn everything there was to know, Green wanted to be a chef, Yellow wanted to be a cowboy, Orange wanted courage and the ability to protect those she cared about, and Blue wanted to finally move and feel love in his body. And above all that, they tell Chris, Susie, and Ralsei, "Thank you for watching my dream," with each flower phrasing the statement in a way that was in character for them. Blue's thank you is one that includes not only his, but the other flowers' dreams as well. Orange seems scared at first to thank you, but powers through it and says it anyways. And Green says nothing at all. But no matter the way they say it, each flower is telling you the same thing, and it's absolutely beautiful. The line isn't supporting their dream or discouraging it. It's the simple act of watching it. Yes, supporting someone's dream is a very sweet thing, but the pure act of watching it, of acknowledging it, is something spectacular. We, as humans, all have dreams, but by never saying it out loud, there's a part of us that can deny we ever had them in the first place. Because if we tried them and failed, at least we could convince ourselves that we never truly dreamed of it. But by telling someone else about your dreams, by having them watch you try, they've become immortalized. The dreams you keep deep inside have risen to the surface and become real. We each carry parts of other people's dreams inside of us, regardless if we support them or not, because the very act of watching those dreams make them a reality. Whether or not you feel like the flowers managed to achieve their dreams in the end, despite only being alive for a minuscule amount of time, those dreams will never be destroyed. By telling Chris, Susie, Ralsei, and all of us about them, they're going to live on forever. The reason why thank you for watching my dream is so impactful is because it comes from beings that never should have dreamed in the first place. But because they did, they've become immortalized in everyone who watched them. And it's no coincidence that in real life, Deltarune is quite literally Toby Fox's dream. Something that came to him in a fever dream that he felt so passionately about that he had to make it a reality. By experiencing Deltarune, we're all watching Toby Fox's dream. And whether or not the game's ending sticks the landing, Deltarune will forever be the immortalization of a person's dream. To get personal for a moment, I put off telling anyone that I made YouTube videos for a very long time. I told myself that this channel was nothing more than editing practice. But as I continued making content, I grew to love it. And after realizing how much I enjoyed it, I knew I couldn't keep my love buried. I make YouTube videos and I love doing it. I want to become big enough to provide for the people in my life and create things that I'm proud of. And I think at the end of the day, we all want to be proud of what we do. And through our dreams and the people we share it with, I'm sure we'll all be able to. Everyone should be able to dream. And the reason why I love that line so much is because it applies to every single person. That's going to be it for today. And this may be the corniest, most predictable thing I've said in this video, but my name is Kustopia, and thank you for watching my dream.